Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome, I hope you're well. I would like to do a review of the week that has just gone, but it's going to be different to my previous week reviews, as I will reveal in a second. This is just a snapshot of my account. My account is currently at 20,935 with 2 open positions and no open orders. A sterling dollar position where I have a core position and 2 add-ons. My add-on, last add-on, is currently losing me, and for some reason I haven't got a stop loss in there. And then what's actually just a probing position that I initiated Friday night, and I forgot to do anything about it, so it's just allowed to run over the weekend. I'd like to do a review of what has been going on, and I call this the week of the 17th of March. I'm trading a £10,000 account alongside my normal sized account, and this £10,000 account has been the focus of my attention when I'm trading on YouTube, and my purpose is to try and grow that account using conservative and mechanical strategies such as school run, aggressive school run, anti-school run, first bar negative, first bar positive, plus just basic support and resistance. The account, as you saw, is at 20,935. And so since the 6th of January, my account is up 109%. The gain for this week has been 7.42%. What's actually revealed in that number is that I was as high as 21,300 when I started Friday morning, but I didn't have a very good day in trading on Friday, and my account lost 3%. Percentage gain in January was 42%. Percentage gain in February was 15%, but I was on holiday for 10 trading days. And the percentage gain in March so far, after 15 trading days with 6 more to go, is 26%. I have 2 significant drawdowns this year. The first one, I believe, was in February, or could be wrong, but it was a bad losing morning in the DAX where I lost 3 trades in a row, and that drawdown was 4.78%. The second drawdown was the one I just experienced this Friday, just gone, and that was 3%. I have actually taken some money out of the account, and I do that if I execute trades that are not displayed, significant trades that are not displayed whilst trading live on YouTube. The reason why I'm doing that is because I trade a very big account, but if I see what I consider to be a storming setup, and it takes place at a time when I'm not actually trading live on YouTube, I will still execute it in a smaller account. And for some magical reason, all of those trades have actually been winners. But I've taken them out so that I'm not distorting the view or the perspective of the £10,000 account challenge. And this is not the only withdrawal I've made. I've also withdrawn 500, 1,800, and another one which was at 2,985. So the overall real gain for the account was 26,000, or is 26,972, which puts the account up about 170%, with the biggest drawdown being 4.78%. As a practical announcement for the week that's just coming, I'll be trading Monday and Tuesday for both the Euro session and the US session as normal. But on Wednesday, I will not be able to attend the US session. And on Thursday, I'll be closed for the EU session, and I may be closed all day. The reason why this is happening is I don't mind revealing that, because it may affect my mental state. I think I'm going I have had some issues with my eyes. My sight is absolutely fine. In fact, for a 55-year-old male, it's incredible. I'm not using glasses and I can read completely normal with a near perfect sight. But I can't explain why. I don't particularly want to go into it either because I'm in the darkness, but my eyes are incredibly irritated and swollen at times, and I have I've secured what do you call that? A hospital appointment with a specialty hospital. Anyway, you don't want to hear me. It was just so that you know that on Thursday I may not trade at all. Normally I would review my trading performance for the week, and I still intend to do that in the next day or so. But I think it's fair to say that at times you become more than just a trading mentor to people. You almost become a social worker, or perhaps a shoulder to cry on. And when you're a human being that has a great deal of empathy, and empathy being that you feel other people's emotions and pains, it can be, dare I say, somewhat of a curse to have a social media influence, in particular in an arena which is as emotional as trading, because trading is it's a very binary manifestation of our experience. What I mean by that is that either we are happy with our performance or we are unhappy with our performance. And then you have degrees of happiness, and you certainly also have degrees of sadness. And so when I receive messages like the one I'm about to read to you, I obviously perhaps am more inclined to answer questions like that than I'm inclined to answer someone who asks me, what do you think about my trading this week? So I received this message here. Dear Mr. HOUGAARD, hi Mr. HOUGAARD, I need serious help. Know exactly why I'm losing money, but I simply am weak and can't control my emotions. And you have had an opportunity to read this, but I'll just pick out a few things. So doubt is the main thing. As soon as I begin to trade real money, I seem to lose my mental composure. If the trade goes just a little bit against me, I close immediately. And then the price action goes as I expect it to, and I panic, and now I begin to chase the market. I move my stop loss to break even. If it hits my stop loss, I'm out, and I don't try to re-enter even though the trade is still valid. If I kept the first entry, I wouldn't be stopped out. So I wrote to him, you have very strong emotions. And that was my attempt to perhaps diffuse the situation a little bit, and trying to make this individual understand that I have worked with colleagues, traders, that was just stonewall. They would make the perfect poker player. You couldn't tell their emotion. But they weren't necessarily good traders, weren't bad traders either. I've also worked with, and there's one particular person here that I'm thinking of. I'm just going to call him Mark. I once saw Mark dismantle a PC with his feet in anger. And the rest of us around the desk simply just observed, knowing full well that it was probably a good idea that Mark was just allowed to do whatever he needed to do to get rid of his frustration. And so if you ever hear someone say, emotions are really bad in trading, that's not true. Mark was probably one of the best traders that I worked with. But even Mark at times met his kryptonite, and that was his way of getting rid of whatever frustrations, whatever it was that he was experiencing, whether it was just work related or maybe he was carrying frustrations from home into work. But it's not correct to say that calm traders, or shall we say, it's not correct to say that people that have emotions can't be good traders, because they can. I managed many wins on demo trading. Well, let's just pause there for a second, because when we're trading a demo account, you're not experiencing the emotion. Demo accounts shouldn't be used for anything other than learning a new platform. So let's say that I open up an account with broker XYZ, and it was the first time I'd ever seen their platform. I would use a demo account to get comfortable with the various functions. Very much like a pilot sitting in a simulator before he actually goes into a real cockpit. But demo accounts will never, ever be a surrogate for real profitable trading. It simply cannot be, because almost the most vital part of trading is confidence. Confidence in the face of adversity. Confidence is be all and end all. And a demo account will not instill the right kind of confidence, because you're not feeling anything when you are in a losing position on a demo account. And why should you? Because the money is not real. And so just that because someone has done well on a demo account is by no means a proxy for how they're going to perform on a real account. But it's the last message from this gentleman. I could just risk a normal amount and not get wiped out if I'm wrong. But it might be the trade that fixes everything. So I had to risk everything on it. I'm not thinking like that right now. I just analyze my emotions and thoughts going subconsciously in my head when I see that kind of trade. If I don't risk enough and take the trade, I'm in huge profits, but it could be way better. So results end up being me blowing my account due to disappointment and greed. I have lost way more than I can afford to lose, and that's not just money. I'm a disappointment to everyone. I've fallen back in life. Sure, I'm 21, so I can recover from this, but I've pushed people away from me. I've done serious damage to my health. I'm more addicted to cigarettes than ever. I drink more coffee than I used to on days I was working 14 to 16 hours nonstop. But more importantly, I'm disappointed to myself. In the entire month of February, I only left the house once in 4 days to buy food and cigarettes. I spent too much and drank too much alcohol. Maybe trading is just not for me. Could be, but the way I see it is the problem is simply not. It's not so simple, because being so emotional hurts my life in a lot of other ways. I'd really appreciate if you ever read this, but I do understand you don't have to, of course. I could consult a psychologist, but I'm not expecting more than trading is gambling, just stop trading, problem fixed. So, I'd like to address this individual as if he was my son. The problem with giving advice to people who are your family is that people in your family, they love you, but they don't necessarily respect you. Just think about it with your own children. And in particular with children, of course our children loves us, but they don't always respect us as parents, because they think, well, I can do better. And I certainly could say the same for my parents, that I thought, yeah, I can do better than this. And maybe it's just youthful exuberance and naivety. But if I was to advise and guide an individual like this, it would be very easy for me to do. The first thing I would say is, hang on, let's deal with this point here. I have lost way more than I can afford to lose. And that's not just money. Let's forget this for a second. I have lost way more than I can afford to lose. Right there is a big alarm bell. Look, you're 21 years old and you got your whole life ahead of you. You're clearly not as emotionally mature as you need to be a good trader. Good trading is associated with emotional stability and an ability to handle adversity without it skewing your sense of well-being and your balance in life. At 21 years old, some parts of the world, they will consider you an adult. Sorry, in every part of the world, you're considered an adult. But to me, you're just a man-child, because trading is the arena where only the most disciplined of people will thrive and survive. It occurred to me today as I was working out that the reason why I am the trader I am is not because I have a phenomenal grasp on technical analysis. If you want to be accustomed to someone who has a phenomenal grasp on technical analysis, then take an Al Brooks, who is just the most supreme when it comes to technical analysis. Take someone like Ali Moyne, a quant trader who is often associated with Al Brooks, and you just have someone who is incredibly skillful in technical analysis. I wish I had their abilities, but I don't. If you want a young person, then take Andrea, who has interviewed me on his channel. Phenomenal grasp on order flow. Or take our everyone's favorite Michael Huddleston, the inner circle trader gentleman, and look through his material. Take Larry Pesavento, read through his books, and you will be accustomed, or you will be encountering people who have a phenomenal understanding of technical analysis. But I'm going to say something to them, and that's not indicative of whether I think they are good traders or not. But just because you understand technical analysis does not guarantee that you will make money trading. And it occurred to me today as I was working out, because today was probably that was the last thing I ever wanted to do today, was to work out. My body was aching, and there was every bit of ounce of me telling me just to stay in bed. But I got out of bed. I ate that egg white omelette with a bit of brown rice sauteed in it. Didn't fancy that at all. Then I went and did something called Tabata sprint training. Didn't fancy it at all, and I gave it my best. After which I did a power workout for 60 minutes, and just every muscle just aching. But I wanted to do it because that's what I had scheduled. And so what I want to say to this gentleman here is, please stop trading and try and clean up your life. What really separates people who achieve things in life to the run-of-the-mill human being is the enthusiasm and the energy they put into their endeavors. I think most people sadly just sort of drift through life, and they're dabbling a bit. When you look at someone like Al Brooks, who I think could be a role model for all of us, he doesn't dabble. He's written 4 books, each with 300 pages on price action. That's someone who really knows his craft. But perhaps more importantly, he's also someone who has made trading into something that works for him using his parameters. I've never met a successful trader who wasn't incredibly mental in balance. And I think if you drink more coffee than you should, and you smoke cigarettes, and you consume alcohol, it does affect your energy, it does affect your mood, and it's all to do with your dopamine. Because the dopamine is like a pendulum, and I can sort of draw that pendulum here, and then you have this string hanging from the pendulum, and it can go this way, and that's when you're high. But when it swings back the other way, because dopamine will always find its level, always. And when it swings back to the baseline, it will always go in the opposite direction. So when you see me having a losing day, like on Friday, and I'm down 3%, there's no chasing. There's no, oh, the market is stupid. It doesn't know what it wants to do. The best thing I know what to do in a situation like that is to walk away, exit, go and do something else, reset that mind. Too many accounts have suffered significant losses because I stayed and tried to trade my way out of a black hole. And when you consider the structure of a trading morning, you have a flurry of energy being released when the market opens at 9 o'clock European Central Time. And if by 10 o'clock or 10:30 you're not in profit, the odds of you getting into profit are probably slim. And I know that through the audit that I've done on my trading. And I know that the best thing to do is to walk away. Now, just because I know something intellectually doesn't mean that I'm necessarily able to bridge it to my emotional or my parasympathetic nervous system. And that's why having an audit process is so important. Now, it does seem like this gentleman here does have some audit because he's very honest about his own shortcomings. But can I just say to you that the worst thing that could ever happen to a human being is that they are disappointed in themselves. Look, you right here, I'm a disappointed to everyone. You know what? You're only a disappointment to everyone until you're not a disappointment to everyone. And you have not fallen back in life at the age of 21. Your life has barely started. You're a man-child, and you have a hell of a lot of time to make up for this. But perhaps if you don't believe me, allow me to tell you how I got started. I learned about trading when I was about 18 years old, but it wasn't until that I was 27 and I had finished my university degrees. So that's about 9 years later, I started working in finance. And it was another 3 years later before I actually started executing trades. That means that I was 30 years old when I started executing trades. And I was 40 years old when I started relying on trading being my income, my only income. Can you see this? 40 years old versus 20 years old. You have 19 or so years just to prepare, and then you'll start at the level I did. So please don't talk about being a disappointment, because there's plenty of time to right that ship. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to finish in a moment or two. This may sound like an advert for my book, but it really isn't. I can easily do without that $1.50 that I receive in royalty for every book that I sell. Although I would like to say that all the money that I receive in royalties, I give away to charitable causes, support to people that need it, including people with alcohol abuse, drug problems. Every penny is accounted for and goes to charitable causes. But I will like to say this, that I wrote the book Best Loser Wins because I felt that there was a need in the marketplace for people to really understand what profitable trading entails. But the biggest gift, if you will, of that book is the title. The title was carefully chosen. The publisher didn't agree with me. He wanted it to be called something like Lessons from a Master Trader or Lessons from the Trenches. All nice titles, but I wanted the title to tell what the book was about. Best Loser Wins is all about how well do we actually manage trading disappointment. There was a Wall Street master called Victor Esperanto, and he was given a talk. You should really look at Victor's 2 books because he has something to say, and it's a powerful message. And he was talking about a talk that he gave at a college, and he was asked, what do you think is the best indicator of someone becoming successful in trading? And his answer was their ability to take a loss. Ladies and gentlemen, the £10,000 account challenge may go on to blow up in my face and I may lose all the money. I don't think so, because I'm extremely disciplined when I trade it. But what I am most proud about, the performance so far in the first 3 months, isn't that I'm up 100 or so percent. What I am most proud of is that I have suffered at worst a 4% drawdown. That is because I am quick to move stop loss up to break even. It means that I'm relatively quick to take profit when I need to, but at the same time having enough market acumen to know when to push the trade, such as, this isn't my trade by the way, but this is a young Danish man, and I brought this along for you to see because I thought it was one of the most beautiful things I'd ever seen. This gentleman sells short the DAX at 19,466. And then he sells short again, adding to the position at 31. And then he adds to the position again at 350. And then he adds to the position again at 286. To me, this is the most beautiful picture of ability. Of course, what this gentleman has to work on, and he's a young man, he's not even 30, that 1 lot, he has to work on that to becoming a 2 lot, and then a 3 lot, and then a 4 lot, and so on. I believe that if you start the trading day with a warm-up designed and primed for your mind to withstand losses, you say to yourself tomorrow morning, right, I printed out 2 or 3 of my big losses that really hurt my account. I'm going to commit them to my mental image memory. And I'm going to make sure that that doesn't happen today. I'm going to be disciplined with my losses. If you do that, you have already separated yourself from the 80%. Now, being good at taking losses doesn't ensure your profit, but it sure does ensure that your drawdowns are small. So final words, young man, whoever wrote this to me, please take a break from trading. Clean up your life. Don't be disappointed in yourself. Because really, what we need to do is to speak kindly and positively to ourselves. You can't rely on external circumstances and forces to boost your confidence. You have to do that yourself. And it doesn't really matter where you start, as long as you start somewhere. In the gym today, there was a lady. She was a little round, you could say, and she was sweating and puffing. And I think most of the young men looked at her going, Jesus, what are you doing here? I looked at her, I'm thinking, well done. You started. What an amazing journey you have ahead of you. So make sure you rest up, 21-year-old. Get your sleep under control. Then clean up your act. Definitely clean up your act. And then come back to trading again. That's it. The social service announcement is over. Thank you so much for listening in. I will see you tomorrow morning. You take care of yourself. And as I always finish off, stay strong.